Hello and welcome back to live coverage of the Apex Gaming $5,000 Modern Open. I'm Tandy, joined by Ross Merriam. Say hi, Ross.
Hi, Ross.
We got 3 rounds in the books, and we're starting to get pretty close to the elimination rounds. Players are jockeying for those last few spots, trying to win their last couple matches so that they can get their spot into the elimination rounds and get a big piece of that payday. But we're in round 4. We're going to be watching a lot of undefeated players this round, and the winners of these matches likely going to be able to draw in the last 2, so it's the last time you're going to get to see them before the top 8. Ross, who are we watching this round, and what are they playing?
So we're running back Young Dingo here on the Rakdos Evoke deck, and they are going to be playing against a spicy matchup. This is Tyler Price on a very different version of Rakdos. This is Rakdos Creanimator, a deck we've seen a few times here on the Apex series. This is the Kragenwick Cremator deck. Uses things like Yargle and Multani and Emrakul to make the Kragenwick deal a bunch of damage, or you can use things like the Underworld Cookbook to put those legendary creatures into the graveyard early and Gorya's Vengeance them for a quick Reanimator kill. So it's going to be a fast and furious game. I think Dingo's going to need early disruption. Is going to
Right.
mulligan for like early griefs and thought seizes. But this Creanimator deck has a lot of redundancy built in. The fact that you can go Cremator and avoid the graveyard, you can go for the Gorya's Vengeance kill if they don't have disruption. You've got Profane Tutors to put everything together. Fable the Mirror Breaker to help dig a little bit. And then you got a good amount of interaction. There's 4 copies of Lightning Bolt, a Kolaghan's Command, 2 Thought Seizes, and 3 Orcish Bowmasters in this
Yeah.
list.
Plays very similarly to just like a normal black and red deck with
Yeah.
some disruption, but it has those cool little combos in it. That's
Yeah.
that's a neat little deck.
And Urza Saga as well. So if we end
Sure.
up, if Dingo goes really hard towards stopping the unfair plan, the Reanimator plan, or the Kragenwick plan, Urza Saga can go a long way towards winning the fair plan and the Rakdos Mirror.
Yeah, and on Dingo's side, he is playing the Rakdos Evoke deck that we've all come to know and loathe. And he won last round, against the Beanstalk deck, but this is a much different animal. You're looking for turn 1 Grief or Ragavan, and that's basically it. Everything else is just a race. That disruption is going to be nice for slowing down the Kragenwick Cremator deck, but it's pretty terrifying. And the smaller their hand, the more pinpoint accurate the Kragenwick Cremator can be.
Yeah, so you're sort of incentivized in one way to stop Cremator to get the big creatures out of their hand. But
Mhm.
if they're going to the graveyard, you don't want to take those big creatures because then Gorya's Vengeance is a problem.
Right.
So you can get stuck in a squeeze where you're not sure which card they're going to draw into first, and you're not sure what to do with your discard. That's why I think a card like Dothy Voidwalker could be really important because that shuts down the Gorya's Vengeance plan immediately, and you're able to then just aggressively take the creatures out of their hand and
Sure.
shut down the Kragenwick plan as well. But the Voidwalker's probably not going to live that long. 4 Bolt, Kolaghan's Command. There's also a Pirate Spellbomb that the Saga can tutor for. So plenty of answers for that problematic card out of Tyler's list. So definitely came prepared for that one.
All right. Well, let's head on down to the feature match area and watch round number 4 here at the Apex Gaming $5,000 Modern Open. Dingo going to be on your left. That's Mikey Bashara, the streamer. He's playing Rakdos Evoke. He's going to be on the plate, looks like. And his opponent, Tyler Price, on Kragenwick Cremator, Rakdos Reanimator. We have dubbed it Creanimator. Here's a turn 1 Ragavan.
Yes, we are very creative here at the Apex Gaming coverage booth.
Look, if
No.
I was in charge, which I think I technically am, I think I could just say, hey, Taryn, change that to Creanimator. Oh, you already did. That's because I'm the boss. Just kidding. All right. So we have a lightning bolt for the Ragavan. A no turn 2 play from Young Dingo. Going to go back Tyler Price's way. Let's see if we can set up one of these powerful Kragenrock Cremator turns on turn 4.
I see an Emrakul in their hand. Not sure what else is there. There's definitely a red card as well.
All right. Going to go fetch, and we're going to suspend Profane Tutor. This powerful card from, I believe, Modern Horizons 1 allows you to suspend it on turn 2, and 2 turns later you get to tutor for something without paying any mana. So it's a delayed demonic tutor. You don't see it a ton because it's one of those suspend cards with no mana value that's not great to cascade into. But in combo decks like Creanimator, it's quite nice.
Yeah, and it sits in the exile zone now, so it's not vulnerable to any of the discard out of Young Dingo's deck, and it comes off on turn 4 when you're ready to start either casting Kragenwick Cremator or setting up that Gorya's Vengeance turn.
All right, Dingo, with the most lackadaisical shuffling I've ever seen in my life. Doesn't have anywhere to be, it seems. Gonna go ahead and fetch end of turn, get a Blood Crypt tap, and we're gonna go back his way for turn number 3. Something like Blood Moon here could be pretty decent, but You have to imagine he'd be fetching some swamps to play around his own card at that point or something.
Yeah. Ooh, has the Voidwalker. That is going to be a good one if Price cannot answer it. I think that's a second Profane Tutor, and I think there's 2 Emeralds and a Kragenwick in hand. There's also that one copy of the Palantir of Orthanc. Can we pull that one up, Taryn?
Oh yeah, just get old Palantir of Orthanc. You know how to spell that? Palantir of Orthanc.
A very familiar one to those who have played a lot of the MTGO Vintage Cube. A nice bit of card advantage in a
Right.
matchup like this, because it's pretty dangerous to let them mill any number of cards.
Nah. So what does this card do, Ross? Just give me the layman's, because it's
You,
87 words on there. I counted.
every end step, you put a counter on it, then you scry 2,
Okay.
then your opponent either lets you draw a card, or you mill cards equal to the number of counters, and they take damage equal to the total mana value of the cards milled.
Okay, so it's kind of like a personal Howling Mind, but they can choose to take damage instead of giving you cards. It
Yes.
just takes more and more damage each time. So most of the time, I think Palantir of Orthanc is going to just let you draw cards, or at least the first few probably deal damage, and then the rest draw cards.
Yeah, you usually let them mill, especially in Cube, you let them mill 2 or 3 times, but here, even mill 2 could just kill you.
Right.
I mean, mill 1 could deal you 15. That's probably going to kill you.
Yeah, you could just mill over the Emrakul and bonk them, right?
Yep.
Even though the Emrakul shuffles back in, that's a delayed trigger, and Palantir will deal the damage in resolution of
Yeah.
the effect.
That Emrakul will go to the exile zone because of the Voidwalker.
Oh, sure. Okay,
So-
so Dingo here, gonna go back his way. Just another suspended Profane Tutor from Tyler Price, and now we're gonna go back his way, facing down a Dothy Voidwalker and now Fable the Mirrorbreaker. Let's see if we're dead. Dingo didn't get out the dice and didn't get out a token. I'm curious if he thinks that the game is over.
Yeah, Profane Tutor is getting exiled by the Voidwalker. Good catch by Dingo. Now, I don't think Tyler Price has an easy find here. They have multiple Emeralds in hand, but I don't think, they need it. In order to make that work, they need to answer the Voidwalker, then put the Emerald in the graveyard, then have the Gora's Vengeance. This is multiple pieces away. I wouldn't be surprised if this finds just a removal spell for the Voidwalker.
And I think he pulled a Whiteboard of Lightning Bolt to his hand, so likely just going to burn that on the Dothy Voidwalker and move on with his life.
Yeah.
We'll see what else he wants to do this turn.
Yeah, but you got another draw step. You've got another Profane Tutor next turn. Just make sure this Voidwalker is, out of your way. It also gets your hand a little bit lower for that Kragenwick Creamator. There's a land. That's a fine draw.
Okay. Bolts down. That Dothy doesn't want Dingo tutoring with the Profane Tutor.
Yeah, Bolt will also be exiled by the Voidwalker.
Yep.
Yeah, I see. Oh, is that a cookbook? Yes. Okay, so next turn we can find Gora's Vengeance with that other Profane command, and we've got it all rolled up for an Emrakul.
Yeah, and Dingo, he's drawing the part of his deck that's really good against heavy creature-based strategies. 2 copies of Fury in hand, likely going to discard one or both of those next turn to Chapter 2 of Fable of the Mirrorbreaker.
But we know that there's 2 Emeralds in Tyler Price's hand, so even a Grief or a Thoughtseize will not be enough to stop the combo next turn.
Okie dokie.
There is I believe there's a Singleton Colgan's command in Dingo's list. Yes. So if he finds the Colgan's command for this cookbook, then we could be in business. Because I think the hand for Price is Palantir, Kragenwick, double Emrakul.
All right, I believe there's just discrepancy of life totals. They're trying to make sure that they have them right. We have 15 to 11. That's what I see on Dingo's paper. Can't quite see Tyler's, but that's where we're at. And we've passed the turn, has Tyler Price, and we're going to go back Dingo's way. We're going to go Chapter 2 on Fable, probably discard a couple Furies, and see if we can find a couple answers. We need something here.
Yeah. But even if Dingo finds the Colgan's command deals with the cookbook, we can pitch a Palantir, then draw a card. If it's a land, what do we Profane Tutor? Well, I guess we Profane Tutor for a land, and then we've got a 2/3 chance of Kragenwicking an Emrakul.
Yeah. I think we just go get Goryo's and 15 Dingo, especially if he doesn't put any anti-graveyard stuff into play.
I'm saying if the Colgan's command stops that.
Sure. Okay, well, looks like Dingo has the ability to play a Fury here, and that's it.
Yeah. Could also maybe power up a Machamp with that fight energy.
Okay, buddy. You know, I actually asked Dingo earlier. I was like, "Do you have the right tokens?" He goes, "I have Pokemons. Does that count?" And I said, "No,
No, no, do not.
those aren't the right ones." Here we go. Tutor.
Got to
Profane Tutor
imagine
resolves.
that is finding Guru's Vengeance here, and that will end the game. Doesn't
Wait, will it? Because Dingo, what's he at? He's at 15. How
I
much
know.
power toughness does Emrakul the Promise End have?
I drew a third Emrakul just for.
Huh! Bring it back! Bring it back like you left something! Happy birthday. 15 to the face. Tyler
Welcome to
Price.
Modern from 2014.
Tyler wins game number 1 with Creanimator.
This Creanimator deck always does well when we're here. There's always only one person playing it,
Yeah.
and they either lose playing for top 8 or make the top 8. I don't know if we've ever seen one go further than the quarterfinals, though. Maybe Tyler Price will
Well,
become a pioneer.
seems like his sequencing was on point, so maybe he found a gem in this Creanimator deck. But as these players are shuffling up here for game number 2, they're going to be looking at their sideboard to see how to improve their matchup. My man Ross will give his expert analysis as he looks at their sideboards and tell you what he thinks they're going to do.
Okay, Young Dingo. I see 3 Shielder the Apocalypse, 1 Hidetsugu Consumes All, 1 Pithing Needle, 2 Chalice of the Void, 2 Engineered Explosives, 4 Leyline of the Void, 2 Blood Moon. Definitely going to want those Leylines. Maybe you want Pithing Needle. It can stop Urza Saga, and it can stop Underworld Cookbook.
Ugh. But maybe.
That's a consideration, but the Leyline of the Voids are great. That shuts down one angle, and then you can focus your discard spells and your other disruption at stopping the Kragenwick plan.
Yeah.
So
Discard actually seems pretty bad against Profane Tutor, if I'm being honest.
it generally is, and that's sort of what we saw. And then looking over at Tyler Price's sideboard, we've got 1 Legion's End, 2 Thoughtseize, 1 Inquisition of Kozilek, 1 Shieldred's Edict, 2 Fatal Push, 1 Pithing Needle.
Legion's End?
Yeah, 1 Stone of Eric, 2 Nile Spellbomb, 2 Engineered Explosives, 1 Alpine Moon, and 1 Cavern of Souls. We might not bring in anything.
You know, that's pretty common for modern sideboards. If your deck is like a weird linear deck, oftentimes your sideboard just has a bunch of cards that are for very specific problems. And decks like Rakdos Evoke, they are often insulated from pinpoint interaction. You know, because their deck is just a collection of mostly good cards. Ross actually looking up Legions in. I'm trying to figure out what it's for. I think it might be for uh, Yawgmoth, getting rid of the Undying creatures for 2. But
Yeah.
it's also pretty good against Hangback Walker.
Yeah, against Scales.
Yeah.
That would make sense. But yeah, it's a very interactive sideboard, and in this matchup, you don't want to bring in a bunch of interaction because that's the game that Rakdos Evoke wants to play. So you want the minimum amount of interaction you need to deal with problematic threats. I think you have that in the main deck. I'd rather, the main one you need to deal with is Dauthi Voidwalker. Lightning Bolt is great at that. It also answers most of the griefs. The only thing it doesn't answer is a scammed Fury. So maybe you want to prepare yourself for that a little bit more, but you can combo with like a Bowmaster to deal with that, or you can just combo them if they're using that many resources to not interact with you and just put a big creature into play. A Bowmaster can block a little bit, and you can set up a big turn. So yeah, I think this might be present the same 60, but we'll see how Tyler Price approaches the matchup.
I mean, if it ain't broke, you don't need to fix it.
That's the other thing about people bringing a rogue deck like this Creanimator deck is they're gonna have a plan. There's a reason they brought this deck. They're gonna have a plan for the top decks. Rakdos Evoke is the most popular deck in Modern right now,
Yeah.
so there's no way Tyler Price doesn't know exactly what they want to be doing in this matchup.
Unless they picked up the deck on a lark last night over a bet, which would make for a pretty good movie, I think. Pretty good movie premise, especially if he wins.
Yeah, that's what the Magic movie will eventually be about, right?
Oh, yeah. It's definitely not going to be about Jace.
It'll probably
You
be
know.
about Iron Man somehow.
Yeah, of course. Scooping in other properties. Here we go. Game number 2. We're in round 4 of 6. We're going to bring you all those rounds and the top 8 today. Dingo going to take a mulligan. Tyler Price keeping, seems like.
Dingo mulliganing a hand with a Rogavan in it.
Imagine.
Couldn't be me.
Well-
4 Rogavan, no lands. Snape.
We know Tyler's build of Creanimator is updated with Orcish Bowmasters, though, so perhaps Dingo is saying this hand, if it's just Rogavan, maybe not good enough. It is flipping cards off the top of the deck like Witch's Oven and Goria's Vengeance. Little Emrakul.
You can never get their creature into your graveyard though.
I mean, that's true, I guess. Why would you need to do that?
I want a Ragavan into the full combo for myself. That's my
Ah.
plan.
No, you just Goryo's back your Ragavan.
Sounds good to me.
I don't know, man. All right, down to 6 cards of Dingo. We'll see if the 6 yields anything better for him. Going to be looking for some Griefs and some Thoughtseizes and some Ragavans.
Just all the things his deck normally does.
Yep. You don't want the anti-creature part, but if he doesn't draw the anti-creature part, and Tyler Price has Bowmaster, could be pretty good for Tyler.
Hey, it looks like we're keeping. I saw Delta as the card that went back, so must have plenty of lands.
Okay, here we go. Turn 1, we have the Grief. Discarding a Thoughtseize. Take your pick.
Yeah.
We got Crag and Whack.
It looks like the keep is an Undying Effect, a second land, and Bowmaster, so an excellent 6 here, if that's the case.
Yeah, Tyler has a Fable the Mirror Breaker in hand, I believe, as that
Yeah.
DFC card. So we're going to take Fatal Push and the Tutor.
Got to take the Fatal Push because it answers your Grief.
Right, right. And so now you basically don't have a play until turn 3, and this Grief's going to hit you for 12 until then. Okay. I'm not a big fan of getting rid of the Tutor. I think I might have liked getting rid of Fable. The Tutor is very slow, and I think the Grief just should kill before it goes off. Maybe not, but...
Especially if it is a Bowmaster. I wasn't entirely sure that was the other card in Dingo's hand. There was definitely a land. I think we just drew a third land for turn.
Yeah, I think he used all of his spells last turn. It was Not Dead After All, Thoughtseize, Grief, 3 land as the 6. And here's Delta, and we're going to pass back. Tyler fetches down to 15.
So Dingo has 3 more attacks before Price is facing lethal. So Tyler's presumably going to get to turn 4.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty big turn for this deck. That's the turn when you can Kragenwick. It's a turn when you can, pretty easily set up a kill with Goryo's Vengeance if he finds the goods.
Dingo going to fetch instep. No turn 2 play from Tyler Price. And here is Bowmaster.
What's Bowmaster?
The 2-drop off the top. That's going to allow for significantly more pressure and have some punishes for Tyler Price if he wants to activate Chapter 2 of Fable the Mirror Breaker and draw some extra cards in favor of those weaker, expensive things in hand.
I saw it perfectly. They don't call me Eagle Eye Miriam for nothing.
Weren't we talking last night about how you might need glasses?
Yes.
Pretty sure.
Yes, I was.
Although, to be fair, I did give you a little bit of a test. I said, hey, read that sign that's on the other side of the restaurant. And you read it. It was a big-ish sign, but I think that's a good indication. All right, here we go. 4,
it's definitely
5,
a
6.
sign.
Down to 9 is Tyler Price already. Doors closing fast. Does Dingo have anything here to compound the damage?
And the Bowmaster is also going to punish the Fable for Price, which is one of his better cards here. Do we have land 3 for the Fable? Ugh.
I don't think so. Injure Explosives for... Oh, sorry, that's Pirate Spellbomb.
Yep. So that'll answer the Bowmaster. It cannot answer the Grief since the Wicked Roll token makes it a 4/3. So this is still now facing lethal next turn.
Yeah. Even with Fable played to block, it can't block the Grief. Yeah, Bowmaster down?
No third land for the Fable was killer here for Tyler Price. Because then you could see them just finding a Goryo's Vengeance. Because it's a main phase trigger too. You get to see 3 more cards towards a Goryo's Vengeance for that Emrakul. You could maybe set up a Kragenwick. You had a lot of options, but
Dingo here with a quick fetch. 4th land. This is either going to be a hard cast Grief or perhaps one of those sideboard Shieldred's, the Apocalypse, and that should spell doom for Tyler. Oh, it's just Leyline of the Void, so not quite it, but it does take away a bunch of Tyler's outs. Let's see if he has any other things to do.
I think I see another Kragenwick. Yeah, it looked like a bunch of expensive cards. I think there was a Multanian Yargle.
My Kingdom for Faithless Looting.
Yeah, that's the downside of this Creanimator deck. You got a lot of awkward draws when you draw too many of the big creatures, and or you draw like just too much towards one part of the deck. That's why Profane Tutor is so important. And Dingo paid off, I think, for taking that Profane Tutor. That's something that Tyler could have used early, and then maybe found something more useful than what he had sitting in his hand at the end of that game.
All right. Game number 2 goes to Young Dingo. We'll get that updated on the graphic in just a minute. The double grief start, very powerful, allows for not only a lot of pressure, but also stripping you of 2 pivotal ways of interacting or progressing your game plan early in the game. And you're seeing basically the deck do its thing. Dingo has that turn 1 double grief, a reasonable amount, but you also see him mulliganing quite aggressively for it. That's something when I was talking to Mason Clark after his top 8 a few months back here at one of our 5Ks, and he was playing Rakdos Evoke. His outlook on playing the deck was just, it's okay to go to 5. It's okay to go to 4.
Yeah, just got to find those powerful starts. That's been true in Modern for many years, even though the format has changed a lot recently. You know, the difference between your A draws and your B draws is quite large.
Yep. The trick is making sure that your deck can mulligan for your A draw, but if it doesn't find it, you have enough resources to implement your B draw and have that be, fundamentally sound in the game or the matchup. And in this particular matchup, I don't think that Plan B is very good for Young Dingo at all. Fury's not great against the Kragenwhack Creamator Gorya's Vengeance strategy, and we'll see if he can have that early double grief on turn number 1 again.
Yeah, you don't want to be the dopey mid-range deck against the combo deck. You want to be the hit you hard, be aggressive, and disruptive deck against the combo deck.
Shout out to our sponsor, Ultimate Guard. Go to your local game store today and ask for Ultimate Guard products like Katana sleeves, Boulder deck boxes, the Archive deck box that can hold your cube or your commander decks. And if they don't have them, say, hey, why don't you order them? I'll buy them. Ultimate Guard products are the best on the market, if you ask me.
They make some good stuff.
Our top 8 players will also be given some of those Ultimate Guard products as well. Our invitational qualifiers often come with a care package from Ultimate Guard to give away to the top 8. And first place prize is that Archive deck box. It's a nice one. Tyler Price here. Going to take a mulligan with Creanimator. We'll get live totals updated for you in just a second. Our spotter is taking a lunch break.
Another deck that wants to mulligan aggressively because you got to find the right, combinations of cards to do something really powerful. And mulliganing can just help set up your Kragenwicks.
All right, Price here on 6. Has to put 1 back, but can choose just to go to 5 instead if he doesn't like this one.
I do think I saw Creamator at the top of the hand. There's definitely some sort of Rakdos dual land at the bottom. Looks like just Blood Crypt.
All right, turn 0, Leyline of the Void for Dingo, and now Tyler Price going to start off here. Turn 1 with Inquisition of Kozilek. Dingo reveals Dolthy Voidwalker, Ragavan, and 4 lands. So, kept a weak opener with Leyline of the Void in hopes that it's going to stifle Tyler Price's combo. Now Ragavan down, and it's just Dolthy Voidwalker versus the world.
Yeah, once you got a Leyline on the battlefield, the Voidwalker doesn't matter. It's whoever controls the card chooses which replacement effect works with it. So Tyler can make sure all of his cards get exiled to Leyline, not to Voidwalker.
No second land for Tyler Price, but if you had to ask me, he's probably got, well, I don't know what he's got, but Cookbook ain't it, and the graveyard stuff is going to do some work on him here.
I see a Fatal Push, and we just drew a Bowmaster instead of a second land, so it looks like a pretty interactive hand. Price, surprising to me, but brought in some of this interaction. Maybe just sort of swapping out because we haven't seen any bolts in the post-board games. Oh.
Speaking of that.
So maybe Price taking a different tack in this matchup than what I expected, deciding to, fight them straight up in this mid-range battle. But so far not going so well. But that has more to do with the 1 land than anything else.
All right, Dingo going to fetch end of turn here. Didn't have a play after that Voidwalker died. Going to be looking for some more pressure. Tyler Price stuck on 1 land, but we know he has Lightning Bolt and Bowmasters in hand, so he can interact a little bit to slow Young Dingo down over the next few turns. We even have potential protection from a Fury scam here. Fury plus Undying Evil. Bolt can stop that in response. Here's line number 4 for Dingo. Now we can see the hand. We see Fury, Ragavan.
Another Leyline, it looks like.
and an Undying Evil. So looks like we're gonna dash, just a dash. I feel like if Ragavan was a real person, we could probably get him a DoorDash sponsorship. Here we go. Gonna save my thing. Not dead after all. Ragavan comes back.
Yes. And even though it was initially dashed, because it's gone to the graveyard and come back, it is now a different game object. So the dash delay trigger set up by dash does not refer to this Ragavan, it refers to the one that died,
Yeah.
which are different Ragavans according to the game of Magic the Gathering.
Well, while I disagree with the game of Magic the Gathering, because they do seem to be the same card, they did not enter any hidden zones. Ross is correct in how that works.
Yeah.
Now we're going to fetch EOT, and now we got active Ragavan versus a suspended tutor from Tyler Price.
Price finally finds a second land and has the Bowmaster, normally quite good against Ragavan, but with the Wicked Roll token, significantly worse. Decided to get the tutor set up as opposed to play the Bowmaster and try to block. So, going to give Dingo at least one trigger off this Ragavan, and I think getting the tutor down is pretty important. Unfortunate part for him is that this cookbook is pretty dead. I don't know if he has any way to get Leyline of the Void off the battlefield.
No Feed the Swarm. No Splash Blue for Echoing Truth. Here's Ragavan. Bash you for 3. A little bit bigger than normal thanks to the Wicked Roll. That's what that yellow marker indicates. It is 1/1 bigger.
Want to cast the Emrakul? Got 15 mana?
It enters the exile zone, just like the rest of the cards. And here is a hard cast Fury. This is a pretty good clock. No targets, but probably enough. We'll see if Tyler Price can find Kragenwick plus a big burst of damage in a short period of time, but his graveyard is currently locked down.
That looks like a Fable off the top, so still no help. I do think I see Kragenwick and Emrakul in hand. I think it's Bowmaster, Fable, Kragenwick, Emrakul. So if, but that the Urza Saga going away is going to be a problem. If we could have found third land there, then we could use the cookbook to empty our hand, use the Profane Tutor to find land 4 for next turn.
All right. Young Dingo comes in with the Knuckleheads. Here comes Bowmasters to block. We're going to do 1 damage to the Ragavan, and then the Orc is going to block it. And Fury's going to come across for 6. That's going to knock Tyler down to 9. And then 1 more from the Wicked Roll is going to put him down to 8.
Yep. So the Urza Saga can now find maybe the Pyrite Spellbomb, and then Profane Tutor can find like a Bolt. Oof, now we got to deal with a Voidwalker.
Oof. It's going to be difficult. I don't see too many ways out here.
Yeah,
This Profane Tutor likely going to have to go get a land.
the Leyline from Young Dingo, I think, a little bit too powerful. Price on this landlight hand was dependent on, using their disruption to stall out the game and then assemble a Gorger's Vengeance kill. You can't assemble the Kragenwick kill on such a light land count, so the Leyline really stymied the game plan that Price's hand had laid out for them.
Fun little interaction here for those of you at home. So there's a Leyline of the Void in play and a Dothy Voidwalker in play. Tyler Price resolves Profane Tutor, and because there are 2 things trying to exile it, Tyler Price gets to choose which one he uses to exile it with. And so he chooses Leyline of the Void, and so Voidwalker doesn't put a counter on it and cannot cast Profane Tutor next turn.
The owner of the card chooses which replacement effect to apply first.
Well, another 4-drop drawn from Tyler Price, and I don't even think that he went and got a land. So we're going to float 1 with Saga, and we're going to go get an artifact, but I don't know if there's too many relevant things here in the deck. Maybe a Pirate Spellbomb.
I think he got a Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, that can maybe buy him some time.
And
All right, that's the Enoch. This is an anti-graveyard card from the Lord of the Rings set.
Stone of Eric.
Stone of Eric, that's the one. Saying locks down graveyards, can draw a card. It's got a lot of text on it. It's a nice Saga
two
card.
sack to exile the graveyard and draw a card. So I think just trying to find some answers or find more lands.
All right, Bolt takes care of Fury. We're going to go back Dingo's way. Tyler Price is at 8. We have a Voidwalker as a 3/3 coming down. I would have liked Tyler to go get Pirate Spellbomb if it's still in the deck. I think that would have been a nice way to I guess, preemptively deal with the Dauthi Voidwalker before it really gets troublesome. But now, Dash Ragavan is going to put Tyler down to 3. And with Dauthi Voidwalker in play, this is threatening lethal.
Yeah, sure, I'll take a cookbook.
Oh, yeah. We cooking now. Do we have Bolt? No. Gonna go back Tyler's way.
Ragavan should be going back to the hand.
Alright, Dingo. There he is. Alright. Put him back. We'll draw. Huh! Looks like Goryo's Vengeance. Looks like death. And I believe young Dingo going to take this match 2-1. Tyler Price unable to contain the Dauthi Voidwalker, and Leyline of the Void just too much for his graveyard-centric combo deck.
Only ever found one more land, and it was an Urza Saga that was only there for 3 turns. So unfortunate draws for Price, but that's the price that you pay for playing a more inconsistent Rakdos deck.